Hey everybody, I'm Jennifer. This is Metatron is speaking. I have another message for you today. This is not a channeled message, but a message that Metatron wants me to cover specific information for everyone. And that information is the basics or the 101 of spirit guides. So if you are interested in communicating with your spirit guides, these are things that you should absolutely know. And I'm just going to cover basics. There's no way I could cover in-depth information without this being like a 3-hour video, at least. But so let's just do some basics, just some things that you should know if you are wanting to start getting into interacting with your spirit guides, or even if you already have started interacting with your spirit guides. So, number one, spirit guides love us. They love us. They love us in ways that we can't even begin to understand as humans, because the way love is here on earth is, here's the thing. Angels and guides love us unconditionally. And that is absolutely the goal of what we should be doing here on earth, but most of the time that's not what we're finding as we interact with others, right? So the love of your guides, if you've ever had an archangel in your presence, you will know it. If they are exposing their energy to you, you will absolutely know it, because you'll just bawl, you'll cry, because the power and the effect of that unconditional love being anywhere near your energy is just overwhelming joy. And I bawl, and you will bawl too, I'm sure. But it's a beautiful love, and it's a love we can't understand, but it's their number one thing. When I go to talk to my guides every day, first thing out of each one of their mouths, I love you, Jennifer. I love you, Jennifer. And it's the last thing that they say at the end of our conversations too. So they are very loving. I have notes here, by the way, because I wanted to make sure I actually cover all the things that Metatron wanted me to cover, and I don't skip anything. So if you see me looking down, I'm checking my notes. Let's see. Ooh, in additional to them loving you, tied in with that, no judgment. So that is kind of a shocker for a lot of people who grew up in the traditional religious settings, right? There's no judgment because there's no punishment. So we came to Earth to learn, and sometimes you're learning about being more like the light, and sometimes you're here learning about being more like the dark. And God is both. God is everything. God is, he's light and he's dark, or she's light and she's dark. God is completely expansive. God is present in all dimensions that he has created. So God is in the lowest vibrating dimensions where there are demons, and God stretches all the way up to the highest high dimensions. So God is, like I said, expansive, and God wants us to be wise and expansive. And in order to do that, we need to understand all sides of an issue. So sometimes you're incarnating as the abused, sometimes you're incarnating as the abuser. And this is for everyone across the board. So there isn't judgment for making mistakes. There isn't judgment for experiencing darkness or exploring darkness. He wants you to know that darkness, because he wants you to realize that that is not what you want, that it is not for you, and he wants you to turn to the light and choose the light. But you can't appreciate the light unless you've had the dark. So he wants us to have all of it. So that's number one. Number two, there are so many different types of guides. There are archangels, which is the highest type of angel. There are just the regular angels. There are guardian angels. There are deceased humans that can be your guide. There are ascended masters that can be your guide. An ascended master is someone who has experienced many human lives, and throughout the course of those lives, they transcended their emotions. They transcended the low density energies of Earth. They transcended pain and suffering and hatred and all of those things, such that they have ascended to a higher dimension, and they no longer are required to incarnate because they've learned all the lessons they need to learn. But oftentimes they'll still incarnate because they want to help us, or they will guide others from that side to assist us with getting to where they are. There's also elemental guides, spirit animal guides. I mean, there's a ton of guides. So if you are just starting off with trying to communicate with a guide, I highly, highly recommend that you reach out to either an archangel. Go ahead and Google them, see who you resonate with, any archangel, or an ascended master. Those are the two guides that have the highest set of knowledge available to you because of what they've experienced and what they know about humanity. They're able to help you the most and give you the most correct answers. You might have, like a grandma that you love to death, and she might be your guide, and she might be trying to help you, but she doesn't have the expansive knowledge that like an archangel will. And your grandma can't see, into the future the way an archangel can to assist you with making the right choices for you. So let me do that. So yes, so reach out to an archangel or an ascended master. The cool thing about reaching out to an ascended master, possibly first before an archangel, is that if you are trying to channel, archangel's vibration is so much higher than most humans on Earth that it's challenging to start off channeling them immediately directly. So normally there's kind of a bridge guide that helps you get there. Like for me, I could not hear Metatron when I first started whatsoever. Could not hear him at all. I couldn't even talk to him with like my pendulum because his vibration was just way beyond what I was at that time. So I was lucky enough that I was begging, please, some guide reach out to me, help me. And Artemis is the one who reached out to me. And if you don't know who she is an ascended master. She's a Greek goddess, so you can look her up. But she was awesome. So she worked with me for a long time, just fine-tuning me and getting me more attuned to listening to my guides before I was able to be handed over ultimately to Metatron. So thanks, Artemis. Okay. So number 3. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want to bug my guides. So let's talk about that, because archangels specifically were created by God to assist humanity. That's their only job. They're literally just sitting around waiting to help us. That's what they're made for. So you are not bugging them. They are happy to hear your every request all day long, every day. They're cool with that. Some people worry, but there's billions of people on Earth. They must be so busy. I don't want to bug them because they're so busy. No. They're not busy. You know why? Ascended masters and archangels can both multi-locate, and they can multi-locate as many times as they are needed to. So I can be channeling Metatron, and 100 other people can be channeling Metatron, and Metatron can be helping somebody who just got into a car accident, and Metatron can be helping the President of the United States. Like, he can do all of it at once. So never bugging them. They're never too busy for you. Number 5. This one's kind of cool. So you have, some people might have more, but you have at least 2 guardian angels that are true and proper angels, not humans. I know the name sounds like it's a human, but they're actual angels that have been assigned to you, just you, your whole life, and they never leave you. And I kind of joke that these are my shoulder angels, and that, you know, there's one on the left and one on the right, and the one on the left is the angel that is assigned to me that their only job is to keep you safe and alive unless it is your time to die. So they protect your body. That is their one job. So I have mine here. He has a name that was really hard to pronounce, really hard to say, and so he was like, you know what, never mind, just call me of Raphael, because he is working under Raphael, the Archangel. So he said, just call me of Raphael, because that's kind of another thing about angels and guides. They don't have egos. It is not like humanity. There's no egos. They all work together. They don't care if you know their name. They don't care. They all work as one together. So you got your guide that protects your body, and you got your other guide over here, and this is your guide that is always whispering in your ear the intuition. They are your cheerleader. They are like, I love you, go take a nap, you're doing a great job, it's gonna be okay. Like, they are your comforter, and they are always with you. So you got those 2, which is really nice. Number 6. Guides cannot assist you unless you specifically ask them to. So what this comes back to is free will. So free will is a sacred component that God included in all of his creations, and it's something that sets us apart from other creations he's made in the past. And it's, like I said, it's sacred. So your free will is always upheld. It's always honored. No one's going to force you into anything ever. And that goes so far as to archangels and guides will not intervene in your life unless you ask them to. So, you know, so if you have a situation and you're like, gosh, you know, these guides cared about me. Why haven't they done something? Well, did you make sure you've asked them to? Make sure you have asked them to. Number 7. So let's talk about some things that your guides will never say, because when you go to start communicating with your guides, there are spiritual entities out there that are not in your best interest. And to help you discern that at the most basic level, I'm telling you these things. And so that is some things that your guides will never say. Your guides will never say anything judgmental to you. They will never say anything rude to you. They will never say anything unloving to you. They will never criticize you. They will never make you feel guilty. They will never guide you towards anything that is dangerous or unloving. So if you're ever communicating and you're being told to do something where you're like, that's, you know, you use your judgment, use your discernment. Because like I said, there are entities that would be happy to jump in and pretend to be someone they're not. So just know that if it's not a loving voice telling you something loving, don't talk to that one. Number 8. Guides can be very funny, very hilarious. It's not something you think of when you think of angels, or at least a lot of people don't, because you think, oh, it's like the angels of the Bible, right? It's like they descend down and they're serious and they feel they're very self-important or something. No, it's not like that at all. So they're, like I said, they have no egos. They're very laid back. They come across to me in a lot of different ways. Sometimes they do come across to me very biblically, and I, Metatron will say, now hear this, and I sit up and I'll take note of what he's saying. But most of the time it's very casual, it's very friendly, it's very loving. They crack jokes, they're silly, um, they love dancing, they love music, they know what music you know. They have access to your brain files basically, so they can see what you are familiar with, and they can take that information and then apply it to making you laugh. They know what you think is funny, and so they'll use that kind of humor for you. For example, I work a lot with Archangel Azrael, who is in charge of the astral realm. The astral realm, if you haven't heard of it before, it's a space between Earth and heaven, and it's kind of a space that a soul, when you die, you will pass through this space and you will go through a white light tunnel or something similar to get to the dimension where all your guides are, where God is, where all your family members are waiting for you. So sometimes people get stuck in that in-between space on accident, and so I will help Azrael with assisting those souls to keep moving on. So I work with him a lot. I love him to death, and he has the most like wicked, dark sense of humor, and he knows that I think it's hilarious, mostly because you don't think the angel of death is going to joke about death, but he jokes about death, and he cracks me up. So yes, they love jokes, dancing, singing. You'll be shocked. Number 9, guides. Guides will lead you to make good decisions, but they can't make them for you. So, a lot of people, they get access to communicating with a guide, and they're like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Well, the guides can't really answer a should question because they're not here to make decisions for you. You want to retain your own free will and your own sovereignty and make your own decisions. You can check with them and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Is this in my best and highest interest? And they can tell you no or yes. And so they can help you make decisions that are in your best interest and that'll meet your goals. But they aren't here to live your life for you. They're not here to make decisions for you. And you still need to be, the boss of you. And last one for you today, number 10, you can talk to God. You can talk to God. Most people are like, what? I can't talk to God. It's God. That's what I thought. My guides, they used to, if they even mentioned God, if they were like, God is happy with what you are doing, I would like tremble and like breathe in a paper bag and be like, oh my God, like did I do something wrong? Like you panic because you're like, I'm not supposed to be hearing from God. I'm just this small, measly human. But it's like, no, we have it all wrong. We are God's babies. He made us all. He adores us. Of course he wants to talk to us. So, after a few more times of talking through my spirit guides to me, eventually I got to a point where he would, pop in, have a quick word, and, got to the point where he's wonderful. I adore him because I can it's like picking up the phone, and if I want to have a long conversation with God, I can sit there and have a long conversation with God. If I want to just ask a quick question, I can. It's just like an archangel, always available, never too busy. And God, of course, has that huge added benefit of being the decision maker. So sometimes you can ask Metatron stuff and be like, hey, Metatron, can you do this for me? And if it's part of your life plan already, Metatron will be like, yes, I will help you. I will do this. Sometimes I'll ask for things and Metatron's like, only God knows this. Only God can decide this. And so it's really nice to be like, hey, can you just connect me to God real quick? Let me talk to God about it. So that's your right. That's your, birthright, being a soul, to communicate with your creator. So that is not something that is beyond you. That is something that is rightfully yours. So I hope if you do start communicating with your guides, that eventually you get brave enough to start talking to God, and you'll see that God is the king of loving. God is the king of not judgmental. So he's the one you want to be talking to. So that's my 10 things. Like I said, it's just the basics. There are going to be a ton more. Maybe there will be more later. Maybe we will do a more detailed video later. But this is at least some basics for everyone. Kind of just to get you all on the same page. So I love all of you. Hope you're doing well. And next time there's a message, I'll be on here giving it. Okay, bye for now.